Hello my fellow freedom builders and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna make a short video about how I swing trade on a bit shorter term time frames here. And that is because I made a video the other day about stocks that potentially could go to the moon. And in that I showed some swing trading technique combined with my longer term normal trading strategy. And I've gotten a ton of questions about how do I do it? What is my day-to-day procedure, structure? Do I have a specific screening tool or all of that sort of question? So I thought I would make a video about it here on a semi-late Sunday evening where I just had a bit of time off. So let's go straight to it. First of all, many of the swing trading candidates here I use for smaller stocks. Now here, for instance, is Draftking. What I normally do is that I use the screener down here. I have made a video about that before, but in the filters here, let's see if we can find the filters. In the filters, at least, there are you can set the market cap, and on these swing trading candidates, I normally say that I want stocks between $200 million and $2 billion. That gives me mainly the smaller stock, but not the nano cap, not the very small ones. But for instance, here we have Draftking. And I should say I have not been in Draftking, so this is kind of a scene in the rearview mirror. And of course, it is easy for you to say that, that it is easy for me to say that I just look at this in with a time machine, and then it's easy to see what is going up. But as you remember the other day, I gave you, I think it was 8 different swing trading candidates, or jump trading candidates as I usually call it, because I'm looking for some trampoline effect, as I'll show you just in a second. So what I am going to do is that on the weekly chart, I will still need a stock that is going up. And for that, you can use the moving averages. You want the shorter term moving average be on top of the others. What I use here is, let's just see, I can't actually remember. We have a 15 week and we have a 30 week and we have a 50, I think it is, 50 week. It doesn't matter too much if you use 10 or 15 or 20 or whatever you use here. But I like it in a visual sense so that it's easier for me to see where the trend is. So I do like this nice neat trend here. Then I want the RSI on also on the weekly chart to be above the 50 line, and I want my CRS, my comparative relative strength indicator, and here we'll just use the S&P 500 since it is a US stock base stock here. So I want this gray line to be above the 2 moving averages here, because that tells me that this stock is actually going up here faster than the overall market. So as you can see now, in the beginning this was just some nitty-gritty here, but when it really started to move, you can see it has been in what I call the green zone, where we have both of these parameters here in OK. We have checked them off and saying the RSI is above 50 and the CRS here is above its 2 moving averages. So when that is clear, and that is a go from around here, then we can start to look for we can just put a green line in here, because then we have the green line over here as well. Now what I look for here, and Draftking is a great example because it shows you that this strategy is not always right. But what I look for here is that when I get the green signal here on the weekly chart, I know that this is overall moving in the right direction on the long-term weekly chart. So in the daily chart, I can start to look for a turn up here. Then I look for a retracement. Sometimes it is a real retracement. Sometimes it's just a sideways retracement. And then down at least somewhere near the 20 SMA. This is a 20 SMA here. And then I like to see the bounce. Now, the Draftking, I could have bought that here around 16 and it would shoot up and I would be happy, and then we would start to see something of a break. And I know some traders, they simply sell it as soon as you get a close below the 20 SMA, but I don't do that. What I do like to see is that it is getting a bit comfortable down below the 20 SMA. So here we have a drop down, it's trying to get up, it's dropping down again. So I would probably have gotten out here around 14. So I would actually have taken a loss on this trade here. And that's how it is when you are a trend follower, as I am. You just have to realize that you don't win them all, and you never catch them exactly at the bottom and never get out exactly at the top. But then we see it again. It breaks the 20 here. If you are very aggressive, you can just say that you want one red bar here, one red bar, the next green one, and then you can get in somewhere around 14, 15 here. And as long as it stays above the 20 SMA, you can stay in. You can put all sorts of strategies in where you are taking some partial profit, or you might even, as you can see here, if you didn't get in down there, there's a little retracement here and a pop up again, and you can get a good pop up. We have a pop up here again. But when the stock is 2 or 3 pops into the trend, I don't usually take it. So I wouldn't take it here. But here we see we got in around 14, 15-ish down there. And here we see it drops down below the 20. It established itself below the 20. And then somewhere here around 35, 36, I would get out. And that is, of course, easy for me to say since I'm not in it and we can see the trend here. But let me show you some of the stocks that I am in right now. For instance, I entered Tesla just the other day. And I wrote that out also on my Danish Facebook. But as you can see here, Tesla has actually been in a green zone since October 19. I didn't take it there because I thought there was some fundamentally wrong, or at least some uncertainties. Not necessarily wrong, but there was some uncertainties. There was about the production line, and there was some financing. The liquidity was really bad, so I didn't take it, and I did regret that when it went from it doubled pretty much. Then it went down along with everything else. It bounced on this former top, and here we could begin to trade it. And I must admit, I didn't get in at the right time. You can see it's in the green zone from, let's just put one in here, around here. So from this point, I was allowed to start looking for it. And here you can see it goes up, it retraces a bit and have a good green day. And this is kind of what I'm normally looking at, a really buy day with conviction here. Really something where you can see, wow, the buyers really came in here. So I could have gotten in here around 800. It retraces a bit, but never established itself in a territory below the 20 SMA. And then it simply just goes up. I must admit, I didn't get in because I simply didn't have focus on Tesla. And of course, that is too bad because I missed kind of 50%. But as you can see, we have this retracement down here, sideways retracement, a little down, and then a good bounce on the 20 SMA. And I got in here around 10,050 in the first time I got in, and then just around 1100 the next day as well when it continued up. So up until now, that is very good and fine. If it drops straight down below the 20 SMA, I will probably get a little loss, but that's how it is. But then again, nobody knows if these analysts saying that Tesla should go to 7,000, if they are right. I don't know it because, well, I don't know how far stocks will go. I just follow the trend. So this is an example of a stock I just took the other day. I am in Tesla right now. Do we have other examples? Yes, I have a ton of them. Let's have another look at something I've been asked a lot about, and that is the Square stock. And here you can see it. Now, these moving averages are not looking too fine, I must admit. But basically, the two indicators down here, they are saying that we are allowed to buy from around here. I would probably not be too keen on this since there are other trending candidates that looks better. This looks a bit, I don't know, muddy. But let's just say that we were looking for the two indicators down here. And that would be around here. We get a few red days, a little move sideways down here, and then a good green day. You could get in here. You could get in around here again. So this Square stock, that is this payment company, around 75, 80, we could easily have gotten in on that one. I was not, it didn't pop up on my screenings, I must admit, so I didn't see it until people started to asking me about it a couple of weeks ago. There was a very good entry here. And you could probably argue for an entry here, but I do like the price to get a bit closer to the 20 SMA. By the way, I didn't mention the RSI on the daily chart. I also like that to stay above 50. If it just goes down, just kissing the 50 here, that is okay. And should it be just a millimeter below here, no worry. But I don't want the retracements in the price up here on the daily to dive deep below the 50 RSI here. That does make me too comfortable. What do we have more? Well, we have the stock that I analyzed the other day. And I should say straight away that when I'm looking at these smaller stocks, that is good potential in some rise, and especially right now when everybody is hyping the stocks and the Robinhood traders are pouring in. But I should say that I recommend that you also do your due diligence, that you look for companies that are not just on the brink of bankruptcy. I don't like that anyway. Well, the Workhorse stock here, as you can see, it started to allow us to look at buy signal on the daily chart. Just around here, it went into green zone here. And as you can see, if you remember my video, I got in actually a bit late, but it got up here and I entered, I think it was around 550, 570. I don't even recall the price right now, but right around here. And that was not the best of signals, I must admit. I didn't get right the retracement right. This was kind of a test. Since that everybody was running for these electrical vehicle stocks, and this showed the right thing on the weekly chart, and we got this accelerating trend. And I had seen how Nikola and other stocks have been performing, so I thought to myself, why not put just a tiny fraction of my money into it? And I did that, and of course I should have put all of it in. No, of course I shouldn't, because that would have been way too risky. But right now we are sitting at a point where many swing traders or jump traders as me, we are getting a bit nervous because we have been in from around 5, 6-ish here. Now we are up, it has tripled in price, and now the SMA here are very far away. So I got in just below 6, and if this one drops down and has to establish itself down here, I actually still risk getting out with a loss. So what you can do is that when something has run up this fast, you can shorten this a bit and say that to protect your earnings, your profit here, you change this to a 10 because that follows it more quickly, and then you will lock in a bit more profit. That is one way to do it. And Workhorse, I'm staying in it. I actually think there is some more to it. Do we have other stocks that have been we have been able to trade like this lately? Well, of course we have the Nikola stock, and as you know, I am very skeptical about the Nikola stock. I simply don't like it, and well, it doesn't smell right. The numbers don't add up. But anyway, if we don't care about the fundamentals, and it seems like we're in a period of time right now where, well, nobody cares about fundamentals, then we actually get a green signal down here when it was around 10, 11-ish down here. And we might have been able actually to say, well, it is up below its 20 SMA here, drops below. We could have taken it around 15 here. Then we get all the way up, drops back. We could get in here on a good green day for 25. I hope you start to see the pattern. It's actually not that complex. And then it ran up very quickly, and all of a sudden we could have made 8 times our money. And this is where it could be nice maybe to have a 10 in and saying, well, now it's starting to drop down, maybe establishing itself below, and I probably would have gone out here. Another reason why, if I would have been in Nikola, I would probably have gotten out as well in this week leading up to this weekend here, and that is because a lot of the warrants, kind of an option contracts you get with some of the early investors, they can actually start selling out of their stocks. And I don't recall the exact number, but I think it is above 20 million stocks that potentially can get sold now. And that is people that have been in the stock from around 10, and they are probably getting a bit nervous about these last days here of sideways action. So if they start to sell out more, if they're all of a sudden getting, let's say it's 20 million stocks getting sold, or just half of them are getting sold out on the market, that will push the price down, and that will probably trigger a lot of anxiety and some nervous reactions among a lot of the young retail traders that have earned a good profit up here. So that could actually, well, I'm afraid to be a fortune teller here, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one drops, I don't know, $15, $20 or so, simply in pure panic. Then of course it can go up again, but again, I don't believe much in the company, so it's not where I would put my money. Another one a lot of people have asked me about is the GNUS brand, this cartoon thing company. Let's just take this one back to 20, since that is my default. And we can see here that we are getting in the green zone. It's doing better than the overall market, or already down here around 60, 80 cents. So if you are into these very speculative trades, and just let me say again and again and again, this is pure speculation. I'm not looking at fundamentals or market potential or anything here. This is simply just price action, looking at a few indicators and then trying to follow the market's psychology here. So as you can see, it goes up, it goes sideways for a while, and in the same time the 20 SMA starts to catch up, and then around here, around 150, 180, we could have gotten in GNUS brands here, and we could, within a week and a half, we could have 5-doubled our money. But then of course down it goes again, and you can say that if we are using the 10 here, we might have gone out somewhere around 4 here, and that is of course a bit of a dissatisfaction here when it has been up above 10. So again, some of you might have some sort of targets that when a stock has gone up 200, 300, 400%, you take some profit off. I don't know. I'm not much into these stocks, so to be honest, I always get out too early actually, because when things have gone up 100% in 3 days, I start to take my profit, and that's actually a bit wrong. So in my longer term positions, I'm a lot more disciplined. Another one that I actually have had my eye on lately, I haven't made an analysis video about it, but I just might. And that is the NIO. That is also the electrical vehicle company. And what you see here, one of the reasons why I like this, just a quick glance here first. There was a lot of hype about it in the beginning, and people were getting in heavily around 8 and 10 down here. And then it went all the way down to about $1. And it went up again. It just entered the green zone. We could actually have been allowed to get in around, no, we didn't actually get a really good entry signal here, so we wouldn't have been allowed to get in there. But then we get up here, goes above the 20, we are in the green zone, dives a bit down, and then somewhere around 4, 5-ish here, we could have taken it in the beginning of June, and it hasn't given us a sell signal yet. So if you were to, if you weren't getting in on the first bounce here, on the first jump in my jump trading, little jump trading strategy here, you could have gotten in here when it retraced back and showed us a couple of good green days. You could have gotten in around 7, 7.5, and be in a very positive territory right now. As far as I can see, both NIO and Tesla actually have gotten out with some very good sales numbers here around or after the virus hit the world, and people were a bit nervous about the car sales numbers. I can see that a lot of the car companies, they have terrible numbers right now, but as far as I can tell, I think it was the latest numbers I found that both Tesla and NIO are actually they're very good. They have very good numbers here, a lot better than expected. So I hope that this gives you a little sense of what it is I'm doing with these jump trades or swing trades here. I'm calling them jump trades because it's kind of like we are finding the trampoline here. But we do want to make sure that everything is well and good here on the weekly, and then we are trying to find these jump trades. If you haven't seen the 8 candidates I found the other day, then I'll link to the video below here, and then you can see it. I'll also link to the TradingView platform, so on, so you can find that below here. If you have any questions for these, write them in the comment sections below. As you can see, there are no secrets here. There are no there's no hidden stuff that you have to pay for later. This is actually quite simple, and it uses this hype psychology there are in the market. And I know some of you, because some of you have been writing me and saying you are luring people into putting money into into some speculative stocks. And to be honest, I assume that people watching this are grown-ups and they know something about risk. And I have made a ton of videos about risk and risk management, and I also state very clearly that this is not my primary strategy. But I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and therefore instead of having to write the exact same 100 times, you get this video just once and for all, and then I can just link to it when I get questions. I hope that is fine with you. That's all for now, and you better take care of your money and yourself out there. We're starting a new week soon, and I'll be back with new videos for you, I think tomorrow actually. So take care of there and talk to you soon. Hey, just before you leave, remember to subscribe. Bye for now.